Welcome back into the Sports Source. Hey, before we get into this, I do want to remind you another one of our new sponsors. You'll see their ads in the show. If you've got a business and you use forklifts, scissor lifts, scrubbers, sweepers, you name it, go with the most trusted name in Knoxville for dealing you those deals and also for repairing those deals. Allied Toyota Lift. Allied Toyota Lift. Check them out. You'll see their spots throughout this show. All right. Got to hustle through this quick slants segment. About a minute on each of these. Bob, I'll start with you. New SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey talked a whole lot this week about academics. You know, Mike Slive would always have like one theme for the year. I thought it was very clear that the theme of the year for Greg Sankey is improving the SEC's academic reputation outside the SEC footprint. Lost cause, or can he do it?
Oh, I think he can do it. I think it's going to take time. It's not, excuse me, it choked me up because I love academics. I'm an academic guy. I think he can do it, but it's going to have to be done over time. And what you're going to have to do to get there, and I know I'm taking up too much of time, is some of the schools at the bottom who have poor academic reputations, that's where you got to start. You've got schools in SEC great academic reputations. You got some others that aren't even in the top 400 according to Forbes.
True. Okay. Mike Strange, next one. Butch Jones was asked in the main media room or the TV room, whatever it was. You radio guys, newspaper guys would say that's not the main room. He was asked about the fact that Tennessee has more stipend money to throw out to recruits than other schools in the SEC. He sidestepped it. He said, well, I don't have any control over that. He really didn't get into it. Do you think he sidesteps it when he's talking to a mom and a dad and a kid in the living room?
Of course not. I mean, he shouldn't. He should be. It wouldn't have been refreshing if he stood up and said that to the media.
Exactly. That's what I was kind of hoping.
No, I believe what he says, that it's not the football program that decided that amount. The formula was arrived at some other way. But of course he's using that as a recruiting tool.
Yeah, I thought he could have been a little bit more forthcoming there and at least given a wink and a nod. Spurrier would have said, well, that's a little something we can work with. You know, you would have gotten something from somebody, but Jones just kind of completely sidestepped the thing.
Dave Hart even said it's a recruiting advantage.
Then Butch should be copying his boss. I agree with that. All right, Chuck Cavaliers, Bret Bielema said this week that if he sees a kid with a dirty Twitter handle, something off color or ugly, or if he sees somebody that posts ugly tweets, he will not recruit them. Do you believe him?
No. And what happens if somebody hacks into an account and they post something and they put something and he sees that and all of a sudden he says, you telling me if it's a 5-star running back from Little Rock,
that's the key.
He's going to write that kid off their list? Absolutely not. I do not believe it.
If it's a 2-star, he will not recruit him.
Right.
It's a 5-star.
Yeah. Hey.
That Twitter handle was hacked. It was hacked. It wasn't him. All right.
Dang Chinese.
All right, Jimmy. The Chinese got to him. That's right. The Chinese government. All right, Jimmy. Ole Miss Rebels coach Hugh Freeze was asked about the Confederate battle flag and all the controversy surrounding it. I want to put up a quote that he had. The people I grew up around, I did not see them using it with ill will toward anyone. That symbol has been hijacked. Good word. By some people that do mean ill will towards some people. I can't support that. I'm not a political figure, nor do I want to be. But when you ask me where I stand on it, I think it's time to move in another direction. Dan Mullen of Mississippi State, man from New Hampshire, dodged it, didn't answer the question. Hugh Freeze, Mississippi native, tackled it head on. Were you surprised that Hugh Freeze answered as clearly as he did?
A little bit, but I think that that's to be expected. Heck, I remember back in the 80s when Steve Sloan was the coach there, he said the Confederate flag is killing us in recruiting. So I'm not surprised that he did tackle it. Mullen not being from that state, I think, would be a little bit more guarded.
I think you're right. I think the reason it took a Mississippian to make that comment. That's like the politician in South Carolina that made the real final push to take it down over there. She said, I'm a descendant of Jefferson Davis. Okay, well that gives you a little clout, you know, among the southern circles.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the rebel flag has not been as issue at Mississippi State. It has not been part of their brand or package.
I would guess that Mississippi State,
as it has at Ole Miss.
Well, he was asking about the Confederate flag controversy as a whole, though, and the Confederate battle flag is part of the state of Mississippi flag. Okay. So that's why Mullen was asked about it. Yeah. But I guarantee you, Mullen talks about it when he's recruiting kids that are going to Ole Miss.
And John, this all goes back to the question you asked us about, boy, don't you think the University of Tennessee and the state of Tennessee is glad they don't have to deal with this?
Oh yeah, it's the first. It's the first large-scale mess that Tennessee has managed to avoid. I mean, you're tied to the War of 1812. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. The one thing I thought was very interesting about this, but Mullen also said, they asked him, "What about the Rebel nickname?" And he said, "If that is troublesome for some people, I'm sure we will discuss it." Now, I bet Rebel fans could deal with the flag part because they've had to give up the flag, their own flag, the flag at games, still the state flag. I bet you there were a few more people that said, "Now wait a second," when he made that comment that we'll look at the name if it becomes a problem. But anyway.
I'm with him on that. Or I think the Rebel nickname, keep it. Some point in time, you can't just go change everything.
Although I will say this, if it's hurting you in recruiting, would you rather win a national championship or be known as the Rebels and finish 6-6 every year?
I don't live there.
All right. Former Memphis Tiger Austin Nichols, as you know, is transferring out of Memphis. He was initially barred from just about any school in the country. He lawyered up. We'll discuss his situation when we come back on the Sports Source.